noches. Oh, damn, all kinds of languages. Mi nombre es Yosimar, but you can call me Yosi. I'm from San Jose. It's a blessing to be in this space to share this story that I'm about to share with you. This little story story. It's written about my abuelito. So if anybody out there has abuelitos, abuelitas, they're alive. You know that as Mexicanos, we really honor our elders and the fact that they're the ones, that bring out the wisdom. And I was blessed enough to be raised with my grandparents. That's why I'm kind of sane. But this poem's titled Mi Viejito, which translates to my home end. And I'm going to bring you a little bit into my household. And I'm going to share this really sacred person that I love so much. So hopefully you're ready for the ride. Abuelito is drunk again. You can tell by the songs they're playing on the radio the way he rests his face on his hand staring blankly into the wall. It is almost like he is trying to absorb all these emotions these songs produce. Somber and dark feelings coming through rough voices through the radio. He looks peaceful like this, remembering the lands in which he first heard these songs. Mi viejito is old and wrinkled like the brown paper bags the wind blows down the street. He has been the only man in my life who has not left me behind, stuck around to raise this brown boy into the man I am today. I'm about 9 years old when he tells me that when I grow up, he's going to buy me a gun and a white horse because these are the things Mexican men of power own. I'm frightened because I have no idea what I would do if I did have power. These are his symbols of masculinity. He tells me that it's not matter that I've never met my father or my mother is not around because as long as I have him, I will never feel hunger. He's a man of honor and respect, carries himself with posture. I like the way his eyes shine when he tells me that he is proud of me. The way he boasts to his drunken compadres about how I speak English so well and about how I'm going to be a great man one day. He likes me to recite poems to him. Even though he doesn't understand them, even he doesn't know that half of the poems I write are about how I struggle with my own manhood. How for the longest time I felt insecure being around other men because of the queerness in my voice. The night my abuelito told me that it was my duty to carry my name with honor and pass these stories down to my seeds, I cried myself to sleep. Vicente Fernandez on the background singing Volver, Volver, Volver. I knew then that I would never be like these men on the radio who sang about pain but were still respected, men who were allowed to express emotions because they were drunk. Cuando mi abuelito toma, I get sad because I know he is hurting. There is a pain inside his chest, and with every song you can sense how his heart is slowly crumbling. He always speaks about Mexico to me, telling me it's my duty to remember. He has nothing but death to look forward to, and somehow all his dream has manifested inside of me. In the smoothness of my skin, he sees his Mexico, a young and careless Mexico where he was free to romanticize women and shower in rivers, unafraid of the connection between his nude body and water. I can only imagine how horrible it must feel to be caged in this country, stuck between concrete buildings of ghettos and barrios where you have grown up surrounded by milpas and soil. These songs bring back memories of when you lived too fast, a time gone. They bring back Mexico, the feelings of fleeing a country of home. I like it when he tells me where I come from. Cuando me platica de las montañas, de las playas, de la tierra. I'm so far from knowing what Mexico is. I'm just a silly city boy that thinks he understands the world, ignorant like an American, and it is painful to see how my abuelito misses his land. So he drinks and tells stories, and I cry myself to sleep, hoping one day we will finally come back home. Hoping that one day I will be man enough to understand why he drinks so much. He tells me it's my duty to remember. My duty to tell these stories down to my seeds, and since I don't know if I will ever live to conceive a child, I tell them to anybody that is willing to hear. I come from a legacy of men who are silent, poets that only dare to speak the truth but intoxicated. He raised us on the verses of unknown poets. Yo quisiera que las mujeres se volvieran lagartijas, para matarlas a pedradas y quedarme con sus hijas. Simple verses that will light up a room. Mi abuelito is short, dark, and bald, carries bags under his eyes. He is the Mexico I long to remember. It was his breath, his arms, his legs. It was his very back that carried me here.